So today we'll discuss about the navigation component in Android. So what is actually a navigation component? So navigation component is actually a framework, latest framework to provide the navigation in modern Android applications. So to navigate from one screen to another screen, it provides a consistent API to assist and facilitate the user whenever the user wants to navigate from one screen to another screen within the app. Let's look at the main components of the navigation component. So here are the three basic components of the navigation in Android. One is navigation graph, second is NavHost, and third one is actually a NavController. So navigation graph, it is an XML file which holds and consists of the destinations of your app. Destinations can be activities, it can be fragment or dialogues that appear in your application. So the NavHost, you can see the NavHost is a container which holds the destination and it allows the transaction between one screen to another screen on the UI. And NavController is actually an object that provides the API to navigate from one screen to another screen on the UI. Here are a couple of benefits using the navigation component in Android applications. It handles the fragment transactions and it automatically handles the up and back navigation whenever user navigates throughout your app. So let's say you are on screen 1 of your app and you tap on a button and you navigate to the second screen of your app. So it automatically displays the back button at the top left corner of the app so that user can easily navigate back to the first screen of the app. So it also provides the standard way to animate the transaction between screen 1 to screen 2 of your app. It also supports the navigation drawer as well as the bottom navigation of your app. So navigation component works with the Gradle plugin called SafeArcs. So whenever you want to navigate from one screen to another screen and you want to pass a certain data to the next screen, so you can easily do that using the SafeArcs plugin. SafeArcs provides and generates the classes for you to provide the data during the navigations. It also supports the view model. So to share the data between the different screens of your app, to share a common data, you can use a view model that is scoped to a navigation graph. Let's look at the screen. Here is a simple app that shows cards of plants. So whenever you tap on a specific card, it goes to the second screen, which displays the details of that card. So whenever you navigate to the next screen, it automatically displays the back button on the next screen so that user can navigate back to the previous screen. Here are a couple of principles of the navigation component. So it automatically manages the backstack of your application. So whenever user navigate from one screen to another screen or to some other screen in your app, it automatically stacks up the destinations within your app. So whenever user navigates back from a certain screen, it simply pops the most recent destination from the stack. To get started with the navigation, you have to set up your environment, you have to add the navigation graph, the NavHost, and you can define the destinations. They can consist of fragments or activities or the dialogues, whichever appears in your app. So first and foremost, you have to define the Gradle dependencies in the Gradle file. And for Java, you have to specify the Java versions of the navigation component, as well as you can define for the Kotlin specific versions. This is actually how the navigation graph will look like in the end. So each screen consists of a fragment and each screen is called a destination. So how to create a navigation graph? You have to go to the resource folder and click to add a new resource folder and select the type as navigation. After creating the navigation directory, you click on adding the navigation resource file. It will create an XML file with navigation tag. Now you can include different destinations of your app within this graph. To include a destination, you can simply click on the plus button here on the navigation editor. Here you can see the different destinations appearing in your app. So firstly, you have to define these destinations. Destinations are just empty fragments. After clicking the OK, now you can see the navigation graph of your app. So now let's come to the second step. You have to add the NavHost fragment. So in your main activity, you have to add the fragment container view. Inside the fragment container view, you have to define the name as NavHost fragment to add the NavHost in the navigation component. Now, as we discussed earlier, you have to define one destination as start destination of your app. So whenever user launches the app, it always appears that destination as your first screen of the app. Here in our case, we have defined the login fragment as our start destination. To make things working, you have to follow the last step, which is adding the NavController and using the NavController navigating from one destination to another destination within your app. So to set up, you have to get the NavHost fragment, and using that NavHost fragment, you will get the NavController. Using that NavController, now you can navigate from one screen to another screen of the app. Here in our case, we have shown a simple use case where user is tapping on a no internet view, and on the click of no internet view, the user simply log out of the app. That's all folks. I hope you learned something new today. So please check out the presentation linked in the description below. And if you want to see more of these sessions, please let us know in the comments below.